This is how cement tiles are handmade. At one of the few workshops left in Egypt, for Sayed Hussein, it's an art form. He begins with sifting white cement. Once it's become a fine powder, he mixes in pigments to get just the right hue. Then he adds in water. Stage pours each color into its own section. Using one of his stencils, he tops off the mold with a mixture of sand, cement, and limestone, a crucial step to ensure the pattern stays in place. Then he sends it through the hydraulic press. The machine's pressure solidifies the cement within seconds. Have you seen how candles are made by hand?
Candle making has been in this family for over 300 years. Viviana Alaves is one of the last people in her Mexican village who still knows how to make these candles by hand. Making candles starts with the wax. Viviana's daughter-in-law, Guillermina, breaks it up by hand. Then, Viviana melts it over a fire. Viviana uses a bowl as a mold and dips it first into the hot wax, then into cold water to harden it. Viviana then lays them out on the roof of her house. The discs sit for up to a month. Then it's time to make the candlesticks. These candles started out as bare wicks. One layer at a time, they pour wax over them. It takes an entire month to get them to this size. Finally, they cut the bottoms to make the candlesticks even.
Ever wonder what could happen to cigarette waste?
These cigarette butts are being turned into teddy bear stuffing. Every year, people toss the ends of 4.5 trillion cigarettes. They often think the filters are just biodegradable cotton, but what they actually are is a small hunk of plastic infused with formaldehyde, nicotine, and tons of other chemicals. A network of hundreds of people collect butts off the streets of Noida. A company called Code Effort delivers the waste to the homes of contractors, where they pull apart the filters, paper, and tobacco. They hand off the tobacco to nearby farms to be composted. The paper gets dumped into this industrial grinder and treated with an organic binder. The paper and remaining nicotine act as a mosquito repellent when burned. The plastic fibers from the filters go into the same grinder. They are then soaked in sterilizing chemicals for 24 hours, which leaves them looking like cotton.
And this is the last stage where the cotton is fluffed and carded into the prescribed form.
Refrigerators are one of the hardest items to recycle, and they're filled with polluting gases that can leak out in the process. But Angel Toledo is fighting to keep that from happening. First, they check whether a fridge still contains gases. If there is gas, they attach tubes and collect it. Then, they fold up the metal sheets, and a machine crushes them into blocks. This rigid foam can't be melted and reshaped, like other types of plastic. Angel says the crumbled foam could be used to insulate roofs or made into coolers. Workers also strip wires to sell the metals inside. Angel uses this machine to figure out whether each refrigerator's gas affects the ozone. After analysis, ozone-thinning gases go into 4,000-pound storage tanks. If the fridge has a gas that doesn't affect the ozone, Angel might reuse it in another refrigerator.
My name is Derek Wangy from the Cobblers. Today I'm going to walk you through how me and my team restored the midsole of this Bread 2012 Jordan 4. So we're going to go ahead and remove all this paint to get started. We're actually using a dull blade to scrape away this paint carefully. On these 2012 Bread 4s, it's actually an acrylic paint. You can tell because it's a little bit flaky, and that's why we're going to be chipping it away as opposed to using a solvent or other type of chemical to remove that. Before adding that paint, I'm going to go ahead and tape up these areas to make sure I don't get paint on any areas that I don't want it. So once we finish the white paint, you can see it's a nice solid color on the bottom, and now we need to do the top, which is going to be black. When I'm painting, I try to focus on stretching the paint out as much as possible and making that a really thin coat. So once I put on that last coat of black and that color is looking full, I can go ahead and remove all the tape. The paint will cure fully over the next 24 hours, so we recommend the customers don't wear that. It just needs to wait 24 hours so you can get them back on the streets.